Hi everybody, it's Tristan here from Evolve EdTech and welcome back to another video as part of our Jamboard series looking at the 20 Jamboard templates that we have created for you as part of our Jamboard e-collection number 1, which are available at the Evolve EdTech website. So if you are brand new, thank you for joining us. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. We greatly appreciate it. So this is another one of our videos, and today we're up to our SWOT analysis table, which is a fantastic tool that we can use for reflection, but also analysis, evaluation, and not just for reflection per se for ourselves, but we can actually use it in all different ways. And I've kind of tried to think of some different ways that we could use this. This tool might be one that we might use for more capable students, so maybe middle, high school type students who have more capacity to think of things a bit critically. So it's not something that we might use necessarily with the younger kids, but you may if you decide that you think they're capable of doing that. So in a sec, we'll head to the website and we'll download a copy and we'll go and have a look at it and see what we can do with the SWOT analysis template. But before we get into that, my name is Tristan. As I mentioned, I am the person behind Evolve EdTech. Thank you so much for joining us. You might recognize us if you have been with us in the past. We used to be called the EdTech Teacher. We're now Evolve EdTech. We've changed, we've rebranded, and I think we've got a much clearer focus with what we want to do. So we are here to help you by sharing our love of EdTech with you. So thanks for joining us. Before we get into it, I like to just start off by asking you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, click that notification bell to become part of our community, share it with your friends, family, colleagues. More subscribers, more motivation for me to continue on this journey and hopefully become a really well-known EdTecher, an Australian EdTecher one day. That's my goal. So thank you if you have subscribed, and thank you if you are going to subscribe to our channel. All right, so let's head over to the Evolve EdTech website. Now, this is where you'll find the 20 templates. They're all free and they will always be free for you to use and access. So to do that, we're going to head up the top to our Evolve Resources tab and just scroll down to the Jamboard tab and head to e-collection number 1. This is where you'll find all the e-collections as we create them over time. We only have the one plate, but as we make them, they'll end up here. So you can find 20 templates in this first e-collection from Evolve EdTech. It's set up in an accordion style so that you can only open one template at a time, so you're not overwhelmed and you're just too stimulated with amazing ideas at once. So as you click on your template category, so if we go here to 25-word summary, it'll open it up. It'll show you what the templates look like. Oops, it didn't open there. It'll show you the templates. They're available in 4 colors, give you a brief description, and then there'll be the links so that you can go and access those templates. Today, we are scrolling down to the SWOT analysis table. So this is a really cool template that we could use in our classrooms, and it's a really versatile template that we could use in a whole range of different ways. And I've got some examples. I've tried to think of a couple of ways that we could use it. This is in no means all of the ways that you could use the SWOT analysis table in your classroom, but I'm hoping that I can start to get you to think about what you could do this with. So if you're not familiar with the SWOT, essentially it is a 4-component table or diagram here that looks at 4 areas. It looks at our strengths, or it looks at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, so strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's really great because we could use it to reflect on our own abilities, competencies, assessments, results, skills, but we can also look at it and use the SWOT analysis a little bit more critically if we're looking at it from another learning perspective. So if we're looking at maybe an artist, a personality, a society, we're looking at it from a business perspective, a government perspective, a non-government organization. Whatever we're looking at it from, we can use the SWOT analysis to complete this. Now, we could use the SWOT analysis individually, in pairs, in groups, or we might complete a SWOT analysis together as a class. So again, what I'm loving about all the templates that we've created is they all have that capacity in some way or another to be very versatile in how we could use them. All right, so when you go and grab your template and the color you want, my suggestion is that you don't click on the link. If you click on the link, it's going to open it up in the current tab. So I would probably be right-clicking and opening my template up in a new tab, just so that if I want to go back to Evolve EdTech, I don't have to press the back button or type Evolve EdTech into the Omnibox /search bar again. So that's what I would do if I were you. That's a little trick that I have found very useful in my life. Now, when you head in there, you will actually need to make a copy. Because I'm signed in here, I won't need to make a copy, but you will need to make a copy so that you can access this and it will put it into your workspace, into your drive, so that you can use the editing tools in Jamboard. So let me show you how to do that. Up the top here in the top left right-hand corner. It's the first time that I've made that mistake, so I've done really well. You will see that there is a share button. It will become blue in a second once the page is loaded. And then just to the left of that share button, you can see 3 dots. I call them the magical dots. Other people will call them a snowman, all kinds of things. I think they're magical because there are so many other things you can do behind these dots. So click on those dots, scroll down, make a copy. Name it whatever you'd like to name it so you can find it, to put it in your drive, okay, and that would be available for you. If you need to, remember, you can always go back and make another copy from the Evolve EdTech website at any stage if you need to, or you'd like to use a different color. So once you've made your copy of your template, this is what will appear in your Jam. Hopefully it'll appear in your Jam. I'm going to cheat and I'm going to go, I don't even know if this one wants to show me. Let's see which one appears first. There we go. So this is what will appear in your Jam. Over here on the left-hand side, you will see your tools. Okay, you do have all of those common tools that are available in the web-based version of Jamboard. Okay, I haven't utilized a lot of these myself. I tend to stick to just being using the sticky notes or using the shapes and using the text boxes, just to make it a little bit neater and a little bit easier for me. I don't necessarily have access to a lot of tools in the classroom to be able to handwrite things myself. So I just stick to those elements of the toolbar. All right, so before we get into talking about this, I think I'm just going to, and I have just noticed that there is an extra colon there, not the first template that I've done this to. So I'll have to go and hopefully fix those up. So sorry for that very extra unnecessary colon at the end of opportunities there. Before we get into going and having a look at this template, I will just show you, because I generally do forget this. If you would like to create a SWOT analysis template for everybody in your Jam, we are going to create these, and Google and Jamboard call these frames. So this here is a frame, all right? One frame. Essentially, it's a page. Now, we can have up to 20 frames in a Jam. So that means if you want one per student, you're going to have to probably make a second Jam, but that's okay. It's not hard to make a second Jam and to be able to manipulate it at the end. To do that, we head up here to our frame bar, and we expand that. Now, what I suggest is that we do this before we start actually getting in and creating anything in here. So if you want to create templates and you want to create copies for the kids, do this first, because when you duplicate the pages, it will duplicate anything that is already on the page. Okay, so it'll duplicate anything that is there. So if you would prefer for it to be blank, duplicate before you start adding information and ideas. So we just head up here to, I'm going to just keep changing these tabs here so that don't spoil things for us. And they all look like they're the same, which is strange. So it's the way to duplicate it is we head up here, we click on the bar, we click on these 3 dots for our template, and then we just click on duplicate, and that's going to duplicate that template for us so that we can use it and we can add it as many times as we would like to. So you can see it's duplicated there for us. All right. So with this template here, we have our 4 sections. We have our strengths, we have our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. So we're looking at the positives. We're looking at what we could work on, what we could use as an opportunity to improve or identify. And we're looking at things that might threaten us, not in a really bad way, but that might have an impact or might influence the way we do something in the future. So if you're relatively new to a SWOT, and some people might be, so this is why I'm doing this, I just went and had a quick look at Google search, and just remember, if you do a Google search of a SWOT, it's probably going to look at it from a kind of business perspective. Okay, so just be careful about what you go to select and find, and just make sure that the information, if you want to provide some to your students to give them context before, is relevant and appropriate. So essentially, the strengths. What are your strengths? What did you do well? What resources did you use? What did other people see as being your strengths? So anything that is a positive towards us achieving something or doing something. Okay, pretty obvious, pretty simple. Weaknesses, same thing. What were those things that hindered our progress? Okay, what could we improve? What could we do better? Okay, what were the challenges that we faced in a particular task? So what were the weaknesses that, you know, influenced our ability to achieve or to do something or be successful? Our opportunities. So what are some opportunities that we could access to improve or to learn or to grow in the future? So what went well? What did we master? What could we continue working on? What could we do? So what are some opportunities that we could use to make ourselves, our ideas, our brand even better? And then we've got our threats. So what are some of those things that might threaten our success or our opportunities? Okay. What are some of those resources that we might need? Okay. So what are some of those threats that might have an impact on our ability to be successful? All right. So it's more than just what an opportunity is available for us. Okay. But this time it's looking at things that are a bit more holistic. What are some of those threats that might impact us in the future? So what I've done is I've just put together a couple of really simple templates here just to show you some ideas. This is by no means the end of the world in terms of how many ideas that you could use this for. Okay, these were just some that I thought of myself. I recently did a SWOT analysis with my Year 11 English class with my lovely colleague Miriam. We did one, and we did it after assessment tasks to get our students thinking about what they have or what they did. What we did first is we actually did the SWOT together. We did the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and brainstormed ideas together, because I think the students need to see ideas before they might be able to go and tackle it themselves. So we brainstormed together. We wrote them up on the board. Yeah, I didn't use Jamboard this time, but I would next time. We did it together, and we had them up there for students to display. So they were able to go, yeah, that was definitely a strength that I possessed or I recognize in myself. Yeah, that was a weakness. That was something that I didn't do well. Identify. Then they were able to list other strengths, opportunities, and weaknesses themselves. We left the threats to them. So we didn't do the threats together. We got them to think about what are some of those things that might threaten our success in future. So it's really good to probably go through and maybe do it together first before you get your students to have a go at it, especially if it's something that's relatively new. Okay, so here are just some quick examples. So this one here, it's kind of just going off what I was talking about. We could do a couple of different things here. So we could get our students to provide strengths and examples of strengths using the sticky note function. We could just get the teacher to lead it. Okay. I love the sticky notes in Jamboard. I just think they look really cool. This is definitely a big selling point for me when it comes to Jamboard. So I've just got some really simple strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats here that we could then look at as a class. We could talk about we could see if there was any commonalities between our ideas. Okay, so, you could do a lot with this. Do it together, do it individually in teams and groups, come back and then see what strengths we had that were similar, what were our weaknesses as a class, what are some of the opportunities that we could access, and what are some threats towards our success in future. So that's an example of one way that you could use a SWOT analysis table. All right, now I've just thought of some ideas here. So obviously reflecting on an assignment, an assessment task, okay, looking at our results, looking at what we could continue to work on in future, a great one to use the SWOT for, and that's what we did, and Miriam and I did. Obviously, case studies, okay, are fantastic. So business, legal, geography, history, okay, looking at examples of events, situations, societies, wars, okay, going through and analysing and evaluating those particular case studies, okay? So what were the strengths of this? What was the strength of this particular conflict? What were some of the weaknesses? What were the opportunities? What were the threats? Okay, really great way to think about it. And again, you could do this together, individually, in groups, come together, completely up to you how you'd like to approach this. Again, the next one, I actually took this one a little bit differently. You might use a SWOT to create a character, okay? What's the strengths of your character? What are your character's weaknesses, opportunities? What are some threats that might threaten their success within a particular story or idea? So you might use the SWOT to create a character. So maybe, again, we're looking at a personality, we're looking at a historical figure, we're looking at a society, a period of time. What were the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and threats that made them successful, or were the result of their downfall? So another example of a simple way that we could use a SWOT analysis for another reason, another task. I like this one, and I thought about this one, and I thought maybe we could use the SWOT when we're developing our classroom behaviours and expectations. So maybe we can go, what are the strengths of our class? What are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities? What are the threats towards the success of our class? Okay, so maybe you could work together to see what your students believe would make a positive learning environment. So that's a one that I thought would be really cool to do. And there is just a blank one there just to show you that you can add those blank pages as well. So maybe if you wanted to do something together and do some brainstorming before you added it to the SWOT, you could do that. So you could definitely do a whole heap of things here. You could add your text boxes to the box here and just add them as a list, or you could add those sticky notes. You could get the students involved, completely up to you how you would like to do this. So it could be a collaborative approach. It could be individually, teams, groups, completely up to you. Now, if you're wondering what you could do with it afterwards, if you head up to the 3 dots here, you can download them as a PDF, so you can share them with your students, and you can download the frames as images. So you could put it into slides, you could put it into sites, into Classroom, email it to students, whatever you like. So the SWOT analysis template, a really cool way to reflect, analyze, evaluate, personally, collaboratively, looking at different aspects of your courses and your areas of study. And that template is available from the Evolve EdTech website for you. So go and have a look at it. I think SWOT is fantastic. It's something I'm going to definitely start to use more, especially as part of my feedback cycle with students. Well, that's almost bringing us to the end of this video. Just before we go, I will remind you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. I would greatly appreciate that. And just a reminder, you can get social with us. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So come and be part of the Evolve EdTech family. And if you're looking for those templates, just head to evolveedtech.com. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. Don't go too far because there's more a few more of these videos coming out. My name is Tristan. Thank you so much for joining us as part of the Evolve EdTech Jamboard series. Until next